This episode is sponsored by Hollow Honeydew, a leading free utilities concierge service. Hollow Honeydew is a free service designed to relieve the stress of a moving house, and it saves you time, money, and headaches on all your essential home service needs. We will hook up your gas, electricity, internet, TV, water, and home security systems in just one 15 to 20-minute phone call. You will also receive a free Amazon Echo Dot just for setting up an appointment. If you have closed on a house and have received your closing date, call us now for a free appointment and a free Amazon Echo Dot at 732-859-2019 and visit us at hellohoneydew.com for more information. From the studios in beautiful Oceanport, New Jersey, welcome to the biggest and greatest podcast ever. I'm your host, Ray K. Hey, this is Ray K, and I'm excited because my guest today is actually me. I have some questions I'm going to talk about that were given to me, and also about my experiences during the week. One is a lifesaver because it's involving a one-way street. I'll tell it quick. I was going down the one-way street. I made a left-hand turn into a restaurant. I was meeting a business acquaintance for lunch. Everything was fine. I came out. I forgot it was a one-way street, and on my map thing on my phone, I was trying to get directions. It said make a right turn. And now, since it's a one-way street, a right turn is really going on to incoming traffic, and I wasn't paying a lot of attention, and the cars were lined up on the road on both sides. Sort of like when I used to go to Bayonne, where it was really hard to make turns because you're taking chances because you're kind of inching up. So I'm inching out a little bit, and I'm about to make the right-hand turn. Maybe not thinking right because I had the music on, and I just wasn't 100% focused, which you should be. And as I'm about to make the turn, this car zooms by me that I would definitely had a head-on collision. I mean, I wasn't going any speed; he was going probably 25, 30, so may not have been life-threatening, but I know I would have been badly hurt, So the wake-up call is pay attention, remember, be cognizant of your surroundings, and beware of those one-way streets because they are very dangerous, and that could have definitely been a bad scene, So I counted my blessings on that one and learned a great lesson, which I'll pass along. Let me think. Other thing, I went to Cleveland on a morning trip. It's best I find on those kind of trips to leave early. Be the first flight out. You don't have to worry about delays, it seems, because they like to get them out first. And once you're there early, you just feel good. You know you're next, and you get on the plane. You get in early, so you have ample time to relax, prepare, for the meeting, whatever it is. So you have an extra hour and a half. So I call it Vince Lombardi time, but this is like Vince Lombardi time on steroids because his time was 15 minutes early. If you were 10 minutes early, you were late. Lombardi time was 15 minutes early. So my thing is airport time. Be early. The earlier you can be, the better. I mean, you relax and you could actually think better. So I mean, that might be a lesson on all meetings. Get there really early because you're guaranteed being early in case there's traffic or whatever. And it just is a good thing being early. So those were the two kind of things I learned that way. On some of the projects I'm working on, I got a great podcast coming up within the next week or so on a mental health situation. It's a great website. Interviewing the fella on coming in the upcoming week. I'm excited about. I'm doing my research. The website is weareallalittlebitcrazy.org. And this fella was in bed for 2.5 years from a depression. You don't realize things affect you as you're growing up. You see people maybe close to you die. You go through, injury. You go through bad stuff. A couple guys, had sexual abuse that they came out, and you keep it in. And the mere fact of keeping it in seems to build up. We're not Superman, It builds up tensions, and it comes out. It comes out in sickness. It comes out in depression, and people are afraid to show the vulnerability because they don't want people to think, or judge them that they're mentally ill. I mean, it's just, people are physically ill, and the theory is it's sort of a Me Too type thing. Is everybody has gone through stuff. So when this fella that I'm going to interview, his name's Mark, came out on on what was it? It was interesting. He came out after 2.5 years in bed, and he actually was well received. He wasn't sure if he could just fade it in and just pretend it didn't happen and didn't want anybody to know. But he said, "You know what? I'm going to disclose everything." So he did that, and it was a great outpouring of love, actually, that he received from all his social media and all his friends, and it really made him start this movement of many athletes go through this, and he says everybody does. He says everybody suffers from something because there's about 25 things you can suffer from, and I guess just the mere fact of growing up puts you in one of these categories. So, stay tuned for the next 1 or 2 weeks. That's going to be one heck of an interview as I'm doing my research. My research consists of basically looking at every interview that my guests have done previously, any stories, if they wrote books, read the book, and just kind of, do all the research you can, since Google is great for that and you could find out a lot of things. And I'm finding out a lot of stuff, and it's making me feel good because you're not alone is basically the theory. And then when you see people, you have a little more empathy. If something seems a little strange and you're not sure what it is, everyone's going through something, so that kind of puts you up to speed on that. And it's a great way to help people too, because people just like to be talked to and not judged, so, stay tuned for that one. My Slicing Jersey show is going fantastic. One thing I'm learning from that is the more you do it, and I've been told this many times, is the better you get, no matter what it is. You got to start it. Even if you do 10 to 15, mediocre shows in the beginning, but just get them out of the way. You learn literally from each one. You feel more comfortable. As I look back, and it almost is hard to look back on my first shows because it's improved so much. It's on YouTube, a Slicing Jersey Pizza Review Show. It's like a fun thing. And, you have more fun the better you get at it. And that's what I did learn there, is you do get better at it. And then we hit over 100 episodes. We got over 100 subscribers. And, I'm looking forward to the next 100 because it's something that you just keep getting better at. Even if you think you're as good as you can get at it, it's far from the truth. You could get way better at things. So in anything you do, just keep doing it and you will get better. It's just one of those facts of life. Let me think. Change of seasons. I'm loving the you get hints of spring. So I think that's important to keep in mind is when you go through snow and then you get February, you got March around the corner, you got baseball coming up. Change of seasons is a great thing. A lot of my Florida friends make fun of it because they claim it's cold when it's 72 degrees and it's 10 degrees here, and they get a chuckle out of it, which is okay. I get all that, but the change of season is pretty special. I mean, you feel a rebirth. You see the flowers start coming up. It's still only February 16th, but March 1st is 2 weeks away. And then we're into spring, and then between March and September is great times. And you get the spring into the summer. The birds are coming back. Even the insects are coming back, which is cool. So you notice there's no insects in the wintertime. You got worms coming. All those things. I guess the older you get, the more you appreciate like everything, so including the insects, which is kind of weird because I just thought of it just now. Actually, on the improvement thing, also my podcast is improving too. I mean, this is literally only my 5th or 6th one I've ever done, and I'm feeling a little more comfortable. I'm going to start upgrading things within the next, when I hit about 10, I'm going to really start upgrading. I'm getting some great guests on. I'm getting guests from all different genres, for all different areas of life, which is what my goal is. I'm getting a little better at that too, so that's fun. It's exciting actually to wake up each day and realize that you're going to get better at something. I'm working, actually, I'm have something very interesting. That is, there's a big water problem in drinking water in the U.S., United States, worldwide for that matter, and also to put it more to a local level, New Jersey. I mean, when you Google, this is where I live, so if you're listening to this in other states, I'm sure your states have the same issues, but New Jersey has a lot of issues. There's been some big things in the news, as particularly in Newark, a lot of lead, the traditional stuff. There's a chromium-6 that's a deadly chemical, or it's toxic. I think it can be deadly if you drink this stuff in big levels, including lead. There's big the big issue in Flint, Michigan, with a lot of bad problems. So that's still going on. And the chromium-6 is the Erin Brockovich chemical. People don't realize what the name of that thing is, and it's chromium-6. And they know the movie, but they don't know what the chemical is. And that's still in water. There was an article about a year and a half ago. It's in 200 million homes. So, I mean, the problem is bad. We have a solution for it on a portable filter that takes out 99.99% of most of these, if not all of these bad chemicals, including chlorine, which is deadly, which is, there's studies about huge cancer rate growths if you just drink water that's chlorinated. So just taking the chlorine out, the fluoride in the water, drinking it, I don't know about on your teeth, but putting it in your body definitely is no good either, So it takes a lot of this out, and it's point of use. I mean, you could just literally put the family pitcher or you could take the portable filter bottles, where you could drink the water outside, because most water is drunk outside. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, and it takes everything out. It tastes great. It's high pH balanced, which is the only one in the world that we know of that has high pH balanced water. And it's a great product. It's inexpensive. We could get it super low price. I had a contact high up in New Jersey. And now this isn't going to cost $4 or $10 billion that we got to fix all the pipes going under the water. I mean, and once that happens, the water still has to flow through the pipes. I'm going to have a guest on that invented reverse osmosis for home use in 1969, Carl Palmer, who I'm a friend with, and I've been in touch with him for a year and a half on this, and he's probably the most knowledgeable person regarding water in the world. You'll find out when I have him on my show coming up, and it's scary. The more you read about what's in this water, I can't drink even when I go out to restaurants. Sometimes you're stuck. You got to drink the coffee if you want a coffee with somebody, and the water, the stuff's in the water. Even if it gets heated, those chemicals are still in there. So so I suck it up there, and there's no way of sometimes to avoid it. But whenever I could, I bring my filtered bottle. And to get back to my point is, we have the solution. We're going down the line. This thing cost about like probably 1/50th if they did it the other way, as far as going into the pipes. And then that doesn't work anyway, because the water has to flow through the pipes, and there's lead and all these things. It just doesn't work, And we have the simple solution for every person in the state to have one of these things. And we'll see. I'm not going to say it's meeting deadly resistance, but it's not easy getting it through the channels, And I have probably the top connection I'll put one of the top connections in the state through a very good friend of mine, who was actually was a Stanley Cup hockey champion, So he's given me some very good connections, including this one. So I'll keep you posted on this one as we do this. I'm going to come on about every maybe 5 or 6 weeks, give you my update on how I see the world, and how things are progressing with some of my projects. Maybe this water project will go a little bit smoother. I have some other ideas to try to get it in. We want to get Bailey and Newark because of that lead problem, and it's almost like too easy. And things that are easy, I like. I'm trying to simplify life. I don't want to complicate it. The older you get, the more you want to simplify it, including I'll talk about my pet project, which is the Hollow Honeydew, which is the utilities concierge. Just started up. I had Nick Greco, the founder, on the last podcast. Just started up literally the week before Christmas. Me and Jim Dowd, my partner, who I chose because of his integrity and his credibility, and he's a great guy, and he has a lot of connections in the real estate world. So we started up, and it's starting to get big legs. Things, it's working. People are very thrilled that we could help them. We get thanked about 5 times per deal. And we set all their essential home services up in one 15 to 20 minute phone call, and that's about what it is. And when you set these things up, it's not fun. You're on hold every single time. You got to push 7 for this person, then you got to push 3, and then sometimes you got the wrong person. You got to start over, and there's so many things you got to know about the pricing. So we do all that, and we're experts at it. And at first, whenever you start anything, you don't know how it's going to be received, and people are, I guess the only skepticism is, can you do it? I mean, you guys are starting it up, and there's really no objection to it because it's a free charge to the consumer, and we're able to do that because we have vendor contracts with AT&T, Verizon, all the majors, on the internet and TV, and the home security. We do other things for free. A lot of utilities and the water we do for free because we want to do it all, and that's what separates us from some of these other utilities concierge. And that was the only objection, that you're new, and now we're starting to, see tremendous results. We're going to getting a lot of recommendations. People are excited. They're willing to talk about how excited they are, and everyone that so far is loving it. So I'll keep you updated on that because we want to be the premier home. I almost said hotel concierge, the premier utilities concierge in the country within a year. So it's only been a month and a half, and you wouldn't believe how far we've come on this, including real estate agents, mortgage guys. If anyone out there actually has any of these connections, you could ring me up. Most know me personally because of the service we do and the value add we bring, and we make the realtor, for example, like the hero, and because it's a gift from him. So this thing is really, I haven't been this excited in a while because it's a great business model and there's no charge to the customer. So it's almost like the perfect customer service project, So, and we have a great bunch of guys, and it's my mantra for the year: keep it simple. And I think that's a good mantra for most people to live by. So that's my scoop for the week. It's not a long podcast, I'll be back in, 3 or 4 weeks to update you on all this stuff or any other things, that come up during the week that I find, kind of interesting and unique. Now this is my hit and miss portion, where I'm going to give myself a word association, and within 1 or 2 sentences, I'll tell you the first thing that comes to my mind. Some of these I just wrote down and didn't even think about it in preparation for this episode. A couple I always, have my standard ones. So here we go. Hit miss with Ray K. Favorite color? I'm going to have to say I love blue. Sometimes I like that real deep, good blue, dark blue, and sometimes I love that turquoise Caribbean blue. I'm in a Caribbean mood now because, I'm kind of in the mood to go to an exotic place since, we're near the end of winter and I got that urge. So I'm going to go with, right now, it does change, it's not like set forever. Blue might be, but different shades I like. I'm going to go with that turquoise, that Caribbean blue when you look at the ocean. That's very appealing to me at this minute. Which 2 CDs, if you were on a deserted island, would you bring with you? Okay, that's a good one. I'm a huge Beatles fan, so I definitely have to bring one of those. You know what? I'd probably bring the greatest hits. I'd probably bring the two. It was when I was a kid, the red and blue albums, and they were the greatest hits Beatles albums from the early years. And then, they start going in the mid-years, and then they go the mid-years to the late years, So it depends on the mood. I like them both about equal. But the Beatles' Red and Blue album, that could get me by, probably the rest of my life if I was on a deserted island. As long as it was tropical and, not cold. If I had the Beatles with me, I think I'd be pretty happy and I'd be in good shape. What is your favorite actor? Okay, that's a great one and a hard one. I mean, I'm just thinking of it right now who it can be. From the old days, it's probably like a Gary Cooper guy, and then from the new days, who do I like when I see? I used to love Dustin Hoffman and Jack Nicholson. So those two guys, I'm going to go, now that I say, I'm going to go with Jack Nicholson. Anything he's in, I kind of have to watch, And on the female end, I got to go, who I like who's underrated is Sally Field. I think Sally Field Sally Field is a tremendous actress that funny, could do drama, could do just about anything. And it's always, seems to be, spot on. And I think she's one of those underrated ones, So I'm gonna go with her as my female one. Favorite movie? Okay, well, Wizard of Oz immediately comes to my front of my list because of when I was a kid. I remember looking at the TV Guide when that was on. I just couldn't believe it was coming on. It was always around March, right when Easter was coming. You knew it was happening, and then you looking at TV Guide like the next week, and there it was. On a I think it was always on during the week, if I recall, like a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And it was magical, I mean, Dorothy was great, I probably had a little crush on her when I was, like 9 and 10. Scarecrow was my favorite character. And I loved them all, and it was always sad at the end, when they were departing. So that was always a little rough on me when I was a real young kid. So that one, and then I'm going to go with The Godfather, probably 1 and 2, because it's like you can't not watch it when it's on. So that one, Raging Bull, I like that one. Comedy, I'm going to go with the Wizard and the good and Godfather, not Goodfellas. I mean, that's probably a 5 or 6. All right, Ernest Hemingway. All right, great writer. Suicide too. I think he committed suicide. So those are the things that come to mind there. Okay, Sand. Walking on it with the sand like between your toes, and the feeling is, as long as it's not too hot. So sand is walking on sand. I'm going to go with that one. And last one, I'm just going to say a name that comes to mind of a baseball player, Ernie Banks. Let's play 2. Great smile. I love this baseball card. So there you go. Anyway, I'm Ray K. This was a special version of the biggest and greatest podcast ever with myself. So we will see you soon.